What's up everybody, this is Rich with Lifetime Shred, and today we're talking about a hack, not a unit hack, but a gear hack. Specifically, I want to talk about how you could take this, the Slingshot Rad binding, and make it a walkable liner boot. So, before going into this, I just want to call out, if you do choose to do this hack on your own pair of Rad boots or other Slingshot boots, that you do that of your own decision, and I'm not responsible for the outcome. That said, I don't think the chance of failure is super high here, especially if you're not worried about keeping the old liner boot. So why would you want to do this? You know, if you've been riding cable for a while, you probably know that the removable liner style of boot is super advantageous. You've got a boot on your foot, you're walking through muck, sticks, hot cement, whatever, you're protected with this versus barefoot. Doesn't feel too great. And you know, maybe you already have some Space Mob boots yourself, and you're just looking to have a second shell. This is kind of my situation. Is I have my main cable board, which is the Slingshot Volt, but I also picked up the Slightshot Rover, so one of the Space Mob unique shaped boards, and I wanted to have two setups, but I didn't want to pay for two sets of bindings, and I also didn't want to deal with swapping bindings back and forth all the time. So I was like, what's the least expensive way I can get a second pair of removable liner boots? And this is basically what I came up with. At least within the Slingshot range, I don't really see the Space Mob bindings go on sale very much, which is their removable liner men's boot. And if that's what you're looking for, you might be interested in saving some money. So if you do look around, you can pick up a Slingshot Rad or a KTB, but definitely the Rads for a discount. You know, you can find, I got this pair on Black Friday last fall for 170 bucks, brand new. So that was a very good deal considering a brand new pair of Space Mob bindings, you're at, you know, around $500 or so. In my head, I also knew that the Rad, I'll show you this one, which I haven't done anything to yet, the Rad uses some of the similar technology to the Space Mob boot, but just a little bit different. So if you look underneath, you know, this soft foam right here, this is the same foam that's on the bottom of the Space Mob boot. So if you look at the two of those next to each other, you can see they're very similar looking. And I also know back in the day that the Rad, and this is a long time ago, like 10 years ago, the Rad was a walkable liner. And so I had a theory. I was like, you know what? I think it's the same setup now, and it's just a walkable liner that's been glued in. And I was right. So when we look at the liner here, which I've removed from that shell, you're going to see that it's really not that much different from the Space Mob liner. If you do this project, I would definitely highly suggest doing it if you plan to use the Space Mob liner with your new shell. Technically, you could use the old liner that you just tore out, but just a couple key things here. The Space Mob liner laces all the way to the top. The Rad liner only laces to the ankle. In addition, the Rad liner has this big velcro patch, which is going to stick to the velcro on the inside of the shell and be a pain in the butt, so you'd have to take the stitching off this, but you know, it doesn't look too bad. There's basically a cross stitch and then a border. You know, if you could pick these up for 200 bucks or so, you can pick up the liners for actually pretty cheap from Slingshot. Brand new current season replacement liners are only $100 on the Slingshot website, but often you can pick up last year's liners like around Black Friday for half off. What we're gonna do is we're gonna dissect this boot in this video so you can see what I did. And I can prove that it's already worked. You know, the main things we're going up against here, there's glue around the entire rim of the existing liner. We're also dealing with Velcro in the back. We're also going to be dealing with the lace lock from the liner running through this hole. So it's going to be a three-step process to go from this to this. We're going to need to cut the lace on the liner. Then we're going to have to cover up the Velcro so it's not getting in the way as we're trying to pull it out. And then we're going to have to physically remove the boot. Basically tear through the glue seam that's around the outside of the boot. So for the tools I'll be using today, I'm going to have a larger flathead screwdriver on hand. I'm going to have an adjustable wrench. And we also are going to want to have, I just used a piece of plastic. This is going to be to deal with some of the Velcro. before making any modifications, please be careful using tools. Don't want to pinch a finger or anything worse. And you do this work at your own risk. Just wanted to call that out ahead of time. But it's not that bad. You'll be fine. So I'll undo the gummy straps. Get those out of the way. The first step is going to be getting this lace lock off. So you can untie the top, and we'll see if we can pull this through. We can. So you've got the lace lock off the boot. I'm going to take this whole lace out of the way. So that's out. Now we're going to have to deal with the Velcro on the back, and you can kind of hear it there. Yeah, it's definitely not easy to get that off. Like, give Slingshot credit for people that don't want their liner to come out. They've got kind of double protection between the glue and the Velcro. This is where the scissor could, or the screwdriver could come in a little bit. All right. So Velcro is detached, but it's just going to reattach. That's where the plastic comes in. Kind of jam that between. Make sure all the Velcro is detached as you're doing that. So now we're ready for the third part of this, the fun part. So the way I figured this out was I took these. I would say there's a risk here you could tear the existing liner. I'm not concerned about the existing liner, so it's not a huge deal. Again, I think you're much better off spending the $50 to get the Space Mob liner. So I'm going to take this, and you're not going to be able to get it out like this. You're going to have to put some leverage into it, and hopefully I capture this well on the camera. So I'm just going to, I like to position my foot kind of between the liner and the shell as I yank on this thing. Yeah, maybe 1 foot on the, between the shell and the liner, and then 1 foot above the toe. Oh, yeah, so that's kind of stage one, is you tear the back half open. So you can see I got that, and you can see underneath. Look at that. This is kind of what the other one did to me, and this is where the screwdriver comes in. I will warn you though, again, if you are trying to save the liner, you might be extra cautious here, because you can see on my last one I did divot it a few times. Yanking with these on here, like, it really didn't mess it up that bad. Clamp that. So you got that clamped. Get my pulling position here. You can see, kind of got this part popping. I'm gonna do a little screwdriver work just because I think this is gonna help. So with that, I'm kind of just trying to break the seal on some of the sides here. It's gonna pop. Boom. So, part that was tough, it's like right here. It's really glued in. Yeah, that's out. All done. Show you a close-up of what this looks like. Let me grab the camera. So you will notice there is a little bit of material left over from the liner. You could definitely clean that up a little bit, just kind of picking at it. Now I've got 2 walkable shells. I can wear my Space Mobs in here, and just to prove they work, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Otherwise, I bid you adieu, and have fun shredding.